everyone. Good evening and welcome to day 6 of Body Shaming to Body Positivity. We are back again with fresh new guests, and yes, they have all the answers that has been going on in your head for all these 24 hours that we've been gone. So you're too old for this. You're too young. You won't get it. You're too fat. You're too thin. Eat something. You're too tall. You're too tall for a man, or you're too tall for a woman. You're too short. How much is too much? Who decides? Do we let these chatters go on in our head, or do we just say enough? Let me do my thing. You do you. I do me. So we introduce our guest today. Pragati, over to you.
Thank you, Devleena. Welcome everybody who's joined us today. It's never okay to shame another or be shamed by someone. And we are just sharing our personal stories here. So first we have Dr. Pushparoop Banerjee, Senior Doctor at Medica Super Speciality Hospital. We have Vartika Bhalotia, who's currently studying in the US at Bryant. And we have Sneha, who's right now in Chennai working as a leading market analyst. So over to you, Devleena. Yes. While Devleena comes on, first I would like to ask you, Vartika, do you have any... Okay. Vartika, over to you. Do you have any story that you would like to share?
Yes, I do have a story I would like to share with everyone today. So I used to play basketball when I was in school, and I am not a very tall girl. Like, my height is below the average height. So whenever I used to be on court or practice or go for games and matches, I was always told that, oh, you can't play. You're not tall enough. You're not like the others. You're not fitting in. And I would always feel like it's, somewhere they are just pulling my leg. But then it kept happening over the years, for almost 3 years. And then it was just like them repeatedly telling me the same thing, which brought my confidence level down. It made me feel weaker. It made me feel bad, but I didn't want to strengthen that kind of negative energy in me. So I wanted to prove them wrong. So I used to keep playing. I used to keep practicing. I went on for more games and more matches. And I proved to them that, it's not the height that matters. There are so many more things that, play a role when you're out there and you have to prove somebody wrong. But despite this, I knew I could outgrow it, and I did, which I'm very happy and proud about. That my height does not define who I am. There are other strengths in me as well, and I can prove those people wrong.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, Devleena. You have to unmute. Yes.
Get this every day. Okay, so Sneha, my question goes to you. Have you heard any negative comment, any shaming when it comes to appearance? You're an exceptionally successful person, successful individual, but does that make you foolproof from hearing harsh comments?
Not at all, not at all. I've had my share of body shaming and, leg pulling, and not only from friends and family, but from outsiders, strangers. And from strangers when it comes low, like you're so fat, and comments are such that it targets each and every body parts of yours. Like, I've always been fat throughout my life. And even from sudden, I don't know, maybe a distant relative suddenly, meeting at a gathering, and they say, oh my God, koto weight put on kore niyechish kichu kor. So these kind of dialogues in front of a whole lot of other people, really, it was very negative and insulting for me. I haven't faced such thing in a professional life, touch wood, till now. But otherwise, in the society, yes, such things keeps on happening. When I have so many incidents. Like, I remember once I went to this wedding ceremony of a cousin, and there were around 6-7 aunties whom I don't even know. They came up, and in front of everyone, they were just, whispering in front of of me, and one of them had, took up the courage and come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I mean, do something." And I was like, "What?" And then thankfully a cousin came to my rescue, and he said, no, that's fine, it happens. And he just took me aside. But that was really, if you have to tell me something, why don't you take me aside and tell it to me? And that'll be, I'll take it as a constructive criticism. Instead of sharing it loudly with others, that is I found it very insulting at that point.
True, and this is a very pertinent point that you brought to light. If you really are concerned about another person, sometimes just, being taken in the corner or being spoken about it one-to-one does not feel as though I'm being shamed. But when it's spoken in a gathering, it's just too hurtful. Yes, Devleena, the next question.
Today, for Vishnu, who wants to talk about different dimension to this. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Slight disturbance, but you're audible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Bisharup was saying how he was at the other end, right, Bisharup? Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, am I audible? I'm audible.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, my experience has been somewhat different from whatever the other speakers have said. I mean, I cannot remember specifically anyone, criticizing me for my appearance or anything when I was in school, college, or in my childhood. I don't remember that, but rather I was in the opposite end of the spectrum. I mean, in medical college, we had a girl in our class. Obviously, I won't take the name, but she was absolutely normal. I mean, nothing was striking about her. Nothing was, in the negative sense, striking about her. Yeah, she was not very, what do you call it, pretty or anything, but somehow, I don't know how it started, we kind of ganged up on her. I mean, at least 10, 15, 20 of her classmates ganged up on her, and it went to a certain, so it went so bad that if in canteen we are sitting and whatever students do in canteen, if she enters, we'll just simply leave. And if someone even utters a name, we'll be like, "Er naam nili, ebar sara dinta gelo." There was no rhyme and reason for it, except the girl was maybe a little short. Maybe her complexion was a bit on the darker side, but nothing exceptional. I mean, it was absolutely nothing. I mean, and it went on. We were there in the medical college throughout for 5-6 years. We kept on doing this, and during internship, for the first time, I realized something was really wrong. I mean, I saw her crying after a night shift. She was in some different unit. I entered in the morning, and she probably had night duty or something. And as interns, we have to do all those works that nobody is ready to do, like taking blood in the morning and everything. And I saw her; she was standing at the corner of the ward and crying. I just spontaneously went there and asked her, some friends of mine saw that. And during the break, when we came to our canteen and whatever, I don't remember exactly where, probably the unit room. Everyone attacked me, like, why did you even talk to her?
To her.
And
right. So it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to own up that we sometimes do this. I'm sorry, Vishnu, I just cut you short a little because I think otherwise there can be a miscommunication with the viewers. They might actually turn you into an overnight villain. But you must understand that a lot of us have gone through this, that people have unassumingly, just for their own fun, sometimes just mindlessly, just not thinking the gravity of the situation or the impact it would have on the individual, just take off on some people. We play pranks on others, and sometimes that can actually not be just a prank, that can be shaming for the other. What is a prank to us can become shaming to another.
And sometimes I think the worst of our personality comes out, like you rightly said, because everyone is laughing at her, I'm also laughing at her, or just behaving as though she's a social pariah without stopping to think, that what is it that I'm doing to another individual.
Right. Vishwaroop, since you are a doctor and you practice in a corporate hospital, I want to ask you if you have ever been pulled up, or if you've ever been called out on your unconventional choices or your unconventional appearance.
Yeah,
you said you had
times.
long hair and all of that. So would you tell us about your experience?
Many a times. I mean, I had a constant fight with the HR department. I work in a corporate hospital, but I absolutely hate the corporate culture. I hate everything about it. Everything about it. And firstly, it started with like emails. They started sending me emails. I didn't even think about it, calculating them. And one day my HOD called me up and he said like, HR department se baar baar phone aa raha hai tumhara. Oh, another thing, that tie. We are supposed to wear ties, and I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I mean, I'm always in a t-shirt and jeans and maybe a button down. And I don't know why. I mean, I was doing my work normally, nothing exceptional, but nothing bad also happened. I was going through my daily work, and the only thing they had the only issue they had with me was my appearance, my hair. I had long beard, and I kept on fighting with them. Eventually, they gave up. I had a very bad verbal fight with the HR head. And I told her simply, do whatever you feel like. Ja parun koreni na amar kichu hoche jana. Ja parun korna. Eventually, she couldn't do anything. And it was just like that.
I think this is also another thing, like we are sometimes very rigid on the protocol rather than being, evaluated on the work. Sometimes we are evaluated on our personal choices, which is the length of our hair, the length of our beard, or the kind of clothes we want to wear. So even all that comes under shaming, whether we admit it or we don't admit it.
Actually, if you look at it, any kind of shaming is because the other person expects you to be according to this other person. If you are not appropriate according to the other, then there is a high chance of being called out.
True.
So who's appropriate? Yeah, Pragati, you were asking something to Sneha.
Yeah. Sneha, have you ever faced anything at the workplace which you feel borders on shaming?
Not really, Pragati. It means we have a casual outfit kind of a system going on. So, and while meeting clients, obviously you'll have to dress up properly in proper attire. But as such, nothing. No, I would say I haven't faced any such thing in my workplace.
And how about you?
So I'm in college right now. So everyone has such a different perspective in their mind about how you should dress and how you should look. But personally, I've never been attacked, but I have seen people doing it to other people. They just say things like, oh, you're wearing a striped t-shirt and it's making you look so much more fatter than you already are. So, they don't realize how the other person might be thinking about it, but they just say this out open in front of many other people. So I've seen such incidents happen, but touch wood, it's not happened with me.
Now, since you said you're in college is the best place where you get horrible nicknames.
Yeah.
Campuses are famous for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you come across that? Do they still do that?
So, I have a very good Indian friends group in college as well as some international students. So, even in my friends group, they call me Choti. Just because I'm not that tall and I'm still short, that's just become like a fun nickname. But I know, like, if they're my close friends, so they're not really body shaming me, but it's just a regular word they used to call me. So, that starts happening. They start almost like labeling somebody with that characteristic.
Even I have felt the same thing throughout my school days, and even in college, everyone used to call me Mota or Moti. All my friends. And I know they are not trying to harm or shame us. It's just like an addressing, way of addressing, just a leg pull. But I think over a period of time, it affects you in a way. If it's a consistent process over 2, 3, 4 or more years, in school it was like 10 to 15 years. So it affects us. Somehow we start feeling that, oh, maybe I'm not looking good. Maybe I'm too fat. So it feels, I remember in school times, I was very unsocial. I hated to go out to friends' parties and all, because I felt, okay, they might judge me if I go, they'll judge what I wear. So I used to stay away from all those gatherings and all, because it's not good to listen to such comments all the time, and it have a negative impact, and it stays, and it creates a lot of inconfidence and insecurities that I've realized over the years. And it took me a hell lot of time to get over those inhibitions and insecurities, and to realize that no, whatever I am, I'm happy in my skin, and I have a great personality. That's what matters, and that is how people should see me, just not the outer outlook.
Right. I have one question, a common question to all three of you. How do you think you are too much for someone or something?
Can you elaborate the question a little bit more? Because I think all of us are confused.
Yeah. Exactly. I get you.
Too much of anything. Say too much, in a sense, too unpalatable, too unconventional, too difficult.
Sometimes we hear these comments, that you are too this. For anything. Like I remember I was in a boarding school. What used to happen with me, I never used to like it if anyone climbed into my bed, like we had Saturdays, which was the day when we used to change our bed linen and everything. And I had a couple of friends who invariably loved to, cuddle into anybody's bed, like before the lights had gone out, or, just while chit-chatting and all. And they would not wash their feet, and the feet would be stinking of dirty socks. And I would always tell them, please get off my bed and go sit on your own. So my nickname was, God, you're too fussy, So basically,
I've always been told I'm too opinionated.
Yeah.
So, you have a say in everything. So have you ever come across this word too much for something?
For me, it has been, you've been too independent. You do whatever you want to, and I'm a single woman of 32, and touch wood, I don't have any pressures of marriage from my family. And I think it bothers few of my friends. I don't know why. That they come up and say like, you are too independent. You don't know what goes around. Actually, you earn and you do whatever you want to. So yeah, too independent is something that I have heard of.
Vishwaroop, you want to go?
Yeah, it would be too lazy for me.
Too lazy.
Too lazy and maybe too casual with everything. And yeah, I guess it's...
And do you believe that? Do you believe that? Do you believe you're too lazy or too casual?
Yeah, I'm lazy. Definitely I'm lazy, but there are lazier people than me around. And,
okay, so you're calculated lazy.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I'm not lazy at my work. I mean, yeah. I'm absolutely not lazy at my work, but yeah, elsewhere I am. Lad.
Right. I've heard good reviews of you as a doctor, so I don't believe you're too lazy at work. But so like, you've heard something that you don't believe for yourself.
No, I mean,
yes,
I think he was saying something.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So something I've heard lately is like, oh, you're too much when it comes to like time and organizing something. I don't know why, like I've heard it from friends and family. I would take it as a personal and I would take it as a positive compliment because I'm always in time or before time for something and I always have everything planned and organized and I maintain a diary. So everyone says, oh, you're too much with that work or you're too punctual, you're too much with everything you do. But I think I feel very good about it. So I'm not going to take it in as a negative comment.
Okay. Now my next question to all three of you is about your career choices. Has it been smooth or the thing that you've studied or your career choices, has anybody had any opinion about that? That you could have done better or you could have done this differently or any of it?
Yeah, I have many times. I mean, I have some post-graduation diploma, but I didn't take it seriously at all. And I studied really hard till final year of MBBS. I mean, even with diploma, I probably got the highest marks in university, but I never took it seriously beyond graduation. And so, yeah, it has been a constant thing. Like,
concern of other people?
Exactly, concern at this age, but yeah, it was.
So your choice of education or till what you want to study can also be another person's headache.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Because I am always asked, why don't I do my PhD? It seems like the whole world is so concerned that I must do it.
Right, exactly. Same here. Yeah. Why didn't you complete your MBA?
Right.
I'm asked the exact opposite. Devleena, I have to put in here. I'm asked the exact opposite. Why
do you keep studying?
I'm passionate about finishing my PhD and I'm asked the exact opposite. What will you do with a PhD, you know? So I'll take this opportunity before Vartika and Sneha go on to talk about our 3-month diploma course, which will be launching on the 28th of July. That is just for you to learn about counseling. As you are seeing, even when we are communicating, sometimes we butt into each other's sentences, sometimes there's a communication gap, and sometimes we think that, good communication means just dishing out advice. But actually, real counseling is when you can really, really listen to another empathetically. So this is not a diploma program, it's a 3-month foundation course. So if you are keen to improve yourself or improve your communication skills, do give us a call. And you can always type in the comment box if you want more details. So 28th of July, 3 times a week is when we will be having the counseling skills course. Yes, over to you.
Okay, my last question to all three of you. Have you ever tried too hard to fit in?
Many a times. I had, especially in college, in MBA, because a lot different people from different cultures were there. So it was initially there was a communication gap, but and it took me a lot of effort to go out and mix with people, and people with different beliefs, different standards. So yeah, I faced that. I had difficulty mixing with people initially, but once, after 1 or 2 days, when you gel, and after that, it's like complete free. Okay, it's my zone, kind of it became. So the initial step of, getting out of your comfort zone and mixing with others and getting a new idea about everything is the first step was difficult. And once it was, I overcame that, it was perfectly fine.
Vartika?
I felt the same thing, the need to fit in my first year of college. I was in a very small university with very few people, but there was so much diversity that not everybody understood each other's background or culture or their daily habits or routines. So it was really tough to adjust, but the need to fit in kept coming in. Like I would have to do something their way so they accept me in their friend circle. So I have someone, to hang out with, kind of. So that is something I faced.
Vishwaroop?
Yeah, mine's kind of different. I mean, my choice of music, it has been a big problem for me. I mean, all my friends were in college and they are into, Hindi music and those Punjabi dance music, EDMs and all these things. And I grew up with 70s usual stuff, Pink Floyd, King Crimson and all those things. And it was I tried really hard to understand Punjabi music, those Bhangra, those EDM and everything. But I find it disgusting, absolutely disgusting, and I gave up. I completely gave up. I understand the technicalities of music. God has given me very good ears. I'm very passionate about headphones and acoustics and everything, so I understand mastering, mixing, and everything. And I have read, I spent hours learning those things, and yeah.
My question still remains to you, Vishwaroop. Did you actually really try to fit in?
Yeah, I tried. For hours I tried to listen to EDM and everything. But it's not for me. Okay. Those are horrible. Maybe I'm too opinionated on it, but it's horrible. Absolutely garbage. Okay. Sorry to it. I'm really sorry.
No, I don't think you need to apologize for this. Each one their own thing. Now, before we leave, each one of you, your one-liner to this concept of shaming. We start with Vartika.
So I would say you should just be able to accept and be available for those around you. For someone who's being body shamed, you should try and be available for that person to help and just accept.
Sneha?
I would say just don't care. I mean, just shrug it off. Grow a thick skin and just shrug it off. Garbage in, garbage out. That's the best way, because people will talk. That is the normal thing of the society. They will talk. So it's better just shrug it off. That's it.
And Vishwaroop?
Mine is kind of similar, just easy does it, don't take it too seriously. It's nothing. We'll get over it.
So maybe for you it's nothing, but for some people it is something. But to all those for whom it is something, let's understand that we need to make an effort. It works only if you work at it. Without it, nothing would happen. And before we leave, as always, let me give you a tip to overcome body shaming and move into this zone of body positivity. Today's tip is declutter. To declutter, we need to declutter what is around us. There are a lot of things around us which we don't use, which is of no use to us anymore. A lot of junk that others have given to us in terms of things. Like shaming is also a thing that is given to us by others. Let's start by decluttering materialistic things around us which we don't need. Only then will we start decluttering from the junk that others give us in terms of words. So this is the tip of the day. Over to you, Pragati.
Thank you, everyone. All you panelists were really very good, and thank you for sharing your stories. It takes a lot of courage to come on line and talk about your personal journeys. So tomorrow is our concluding session. We hope to see you at 8 p.m. sharp with the last of the series. Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Bye, everyone. Thank you.